were talking about Gilligan's Island.
Yes.
So actually, where do you see the franchise going from this point?
Well, we are in the process of doing a feature film. We're about to sign a deal to do a feature film on that. But this has been in development for 27 years with different companies. I am writing a book on this, and I'm on page 450. There's no movie in sight yet, but it's gone through all these different studios, everything. It's called Invitation to a Shipwreck. So I'm happy. Okay, so there's that. We're doing the musical. We have a musical, Gilligan's Island, Gilligan's Island the musical, which we wrote in '91. It's had about 60 productions, and there's going to be a national tour in 2009, and it might go to New York in 2008. So there's that. We did the reality show, The Real Gilligan's Island. And Gilligan's Island, between Brady and Gilligan, there have been, probably more variations of it than any other TV series.
How did that work, The Real Gilligan's Island?
Not well enough. I am sorry that it was done the way it was. I didn't have enough control, and they put me with some people that only could do reality shows the way they're being done, and I always want to do things unique. And it really should have been about these 7 people trying to get off. Our idea was to get a real skipper, a real movie star, and all. They followed that part of it. But then they made it a competition like everything else, and it was wrong. It was wrong. And their idea, whether they think, well, you got to do it the way it's always been done. No, you don't. You have to do something unique. That's what makes it a hit. But I didn't have enough power. So the show was a hit. It did very well. It was the highest rated show on the TBS or something like that. But it wasn't the show we wanted it to be.
Were you there on site filming?
Yeah, we were. It was in the jungles outside in Mexico. We were hit by Hurricane Ivan. It was 110 degrees. My feet were striped from the sandals for like 6 months. So it was a very tough shoot. And I really started to not like palm trees very much or beautiful oceans or anything. Enough.
A lot of challenges just in terms of filming?
Oh yeah, sure. There was poisonous snakes, and there was jaguars, and there was, as I said, a hurricane. It was very difficult, very difficult.
Do you think you'd try it again?
I wouldn't do that show again. I would do, Dad says if you're a captain, go down with your own ship, and I was going down with somebody else's ship on that one. And we try to get as much control as we can, and it's really not worth doing. And I don't mind failing if I can say to anybody, that's what I intended to do, which is Brady's, no, that's what I intended to do. I'm fine with that. People can say whatever they want. But I don't want to be blamed for something that I didn't want. Like, people come up and say, you did the Brady Bunch Variety Hour. Now, I'm not happy about that.
Now, in terms of your chronology, after you did the Gilligan's Island reunion films,
yeah,
where did your career, what were you doing at that point?
Well, I know that, let me see, the Gilligan, so there were about the 80s and 90s, I did a lot of theater. I've done, let's see, what other series?
I see the A-Team.
Oh, yeah. I wrote A-Team, I wrote some Baywatch, Alice, the TV show Alice.
Did any of them stick out in your minds in terms of the scripts or the
Sure.
finished products?
Yeah. The Alice was an anti-gun show also. It was an anti-hunting show, and I liked that. Got a lot of hate mail from the NRA, threatening to kill me and stuff. Actually, the producers, I didn't produce that show, but the producers said, we're not going to show you the worst ones. Baywatch, it was comedy ones. There was a Gilligan satire there, and there was another one there that I did. A-Team I did because...
Did you approach them on the Gilligan satire? Or
no,
did
they approached us. They said, we'll do it. They said, but we're, again, keeping things close to the vest. We'll do it, but I got to write it. And then they liked that, and then they made me another one, which was kind of a comedy one. A white men can't jump kind of one. Then, let me see. The A-Team was interesting because my son, Andrew, loved it, the A-Team. And I knew somebody who knew somebody, so I'll go write one. I said, and I really wanted, I love in deep sea diving, I like those guys in the suits that walk around with the things, and there's always dramatic stuff always happens, that the thing gets twisted or the shark comes and eats you or I don't know what. And I said, I want to put Mr. T in one of those things. I said, my job, so the whole reason I wanted to write this, I wanted to put Mr. T in it. I want to see whether the gold is going to be outside the suit or inside the suit. And by the time it got on the air, it was not Mr. T and it was skin diving. but that's the way that is, you know. So that. Then I guess I did a whole bunch of theater. I'm trying to remember. There's just
Scamps?
Oh yeah, we did a pilot of Scamps. We're very proud of that, and it was called. We were originally going to be called 9 to 5, 5 to 9. I don't know, something. Where 3 to 6. That's what 3 to 6. It was going to be called, and it's a time. Dad always liked, and I wrote this with him. He always likes things that are about a problem in society, which is latchkey kids. Where do they go from 3 to 6? So this was a guy played by Bob Denver, a guy who looks out for kids during that time. And it was very nice. It got a very high rating at the preview house, but we ran into a studio president or network president who didn't think it was his kind of show. So it didn't get on. It was the only pilot we made that didn't get on.
Now what is your writing process in terms of, when you write alone compared to when you write with your father?
Dad and I can't sit in the same room when we write. So we work out a story together, and then I will go write the first draft. And then he will rewrite me, and then we will fight at that point when there's something to fight about. We can't do sentence for sentence. When I write with some other people, when I write with my sister, we can do sentence for sentence. When I write alone, I mean, as a writer, I can't say that if I write with a partner, it's better. Because if I could say that, then I should always write with a partner. So instead, all I can say is it'll be different. Because I have a tendency to go my own way, and there's no governor on it. But I write very well with my sister. We have a great time. We have the same sense of humor now.
Do you tend to outline?
No. I'm not a particularly, I'm not a genius. And so an outline would be very restrictive to me because I have to hang desperately on any creativity I have. And if I blow it in an outline, it's going to be not very spontaneous. So I have to try and let my characters do the writing for me. Therefore, it takes it to places that I wouldn't go. And an outline will stop that. So I don't.
Are you very cognizant of the audience that you're writing?
Always. I never write anything that I don't think is going to be a big hit. I am trying to satisfy as many people as I can of a specific audience. Yeah, very much so. There's an expression, I don't write anything that I don't think is quote unquote a no-brainer. But then when I try and sell it, apparently I always go to people with no brains.
Talk about a few more of The Invisible Woman.
Yeah.
With your dad.
This was thing. We got a call from Brandon Tartikoff at NBC. He needed a 2-hour movie. We had written this 2-hour movie. We had outlined, or I think written it. No, we only outlined it. He said, I'm going to give you a choice of time spots. You can go against the end of MASH, the last episode of MASH, or the conclusion of Winds of War. This is it. Which suicide mission do we want to go on? From the moment he said that in the meeting till we were on the air was 3 months. That includes writing the script and casting it and making the movie. So it turned out to be the first movie on videotape because I said I can't do this movie unless it's on videotape. And I wanted to do the special effects that way too. And it was fun. We had a good time.
Which did you actually choose? Where did the movie
We went to get
run?
Winds of War. And that had a 56 share, and we had an 18 or 19 opposite it. But MASH had a 72, so we were the highest rated thing of anything against Winds of War, but that's, you know.
Were there any drawbacks to doing it on video?
Yeah, up until that time, it hadn't been done. So there was a depth of field. There was a problem here. Like we're on videotape here, and behind me everything's in focus. Well, if you're doing a movie and behind me everything's in focus, somebody walks through it, completely upstages everything in the front. So Dean Cundy was the cinematographer, and the director was Alan Levy, and they developed a plan so the close-up, the camera was way back there to be able to throw that stuff into out of focus. So that was a new device that was used for that.
Now, why did you fight to have it done on video?
Because I couldn't turn the things around with the lab in time in order to under the time pressure. And also there were effects we could use green screen on videotape. It was easier. It was all easier, and I thought it made sense.
Let's talk about the Munsters today.
Mm. Well, I didn't want to do it. The Munsters today. I thought the Munsters was a brilliant show. And they called me up, as it was Arthur Company and Universal, and they said, we want to do the Munsters again, or the new Munsters, they called it. And I said, well, no, I don't think so, because it's been great, and I don't want to try and redo it. And they said, well, please, would you think about it? I said, I'll think about it. And I realized there was one reason I would do this show, and that was I had a chance to comment on society today. So I came up with a device that they had gone to sleep through some strange thing, which I had to put. They go to sleep, and they wake up 20 years later. And at that time, I could use the Munsters, to comment on the way society has gone. And I said, then I called them out and said, I'll do it. They didn't care. They said, just wanted me to do it. And so I said, we got to change the title to The Munsters Today. And it was done wrongly, I think, on videotape. And it was done, I fought for a lot of stuff, but it should have been on film, and they should have had big effects, and they didn't have the money. And so sometimes you shouldn't have done it anyway. But apparently it's a big hit in England. I don't know. Somebody wrote me a letter saying it's bigger than the regular Munsters in England, and they love it there or something. So I don't know.
Did you work with anybody who had been originally?
No, I had, that was an option. And selfishly, I didn't want to do it for a couple of reasons. One, I thought they looked much too old and would not lend themselves to comedy because they just looked too old. I didn't know if I could get all of them back. And then selfishly, I said, if I'm going to be dealing with people that all of them knew more than I did about the show, then I didn't want to face that every day and be told no, because I wanted to take it sometimes in new directions. And they were, I know Al Lewis was particularly bitter about it. And I written him a letter beforehand and told him I appreciated all his contribution and all that. It didn't really mean much. But I felt bad about it, but I just needed to do a show that I thought would be, more vibrant.
Did it hit with the original Munsters fans, or was it really for a new audience base?
I wanted to grab those fans and grab new ones. Yeah, that was the thought. I did it for 1 year, and I think it went 3.
What did you do next after that?
I'm trying to remember. I've been busy all the time. I did some, within I think the Brady movies came up. Yeah, so that was.
And you did the Still the Munsters movie too,
No.
right? No, you didn't do that?
No, it may have had me. You may be wrong on the IMDb, wherever that is. Yeah. So the Brady movies came up, and then a lot of theater and stuff since then. And there's some things that are looking real. I get involved in I made a movie. I directed a movie called One Dozen. Wrote and directed that. That didn't get distributed.
What do you think is your career highlight for you?
I don't know. I'm really happy with anything that I'm doing, and other people can say that that's more famous. I'd hate to think that Brady Bunch and Gilligan, the associations with those, are the things that have the biggest impact on society. I am proudest of the Children's Theater. I'm doing that, and we do videos of those, and those are going to be. I'm hoping right now looks like a foundation is going to take them, and it could explode into something really very big, and it's all created out of whole cloth, and I really love that. The show that I did, the historical one that I did for the city schools, I love the fact of what's going to happen with that. Those are the things. I mean, Brady and Gilligan are, as they say, really successful, and I love working with my dad, but that's his vision. So I'm proudest of things that aren't.
Do you ever get sick of it, being asked all about, for hours and hours about the Brady Bunch or Gilligan's Island?
No.
Does it retire you?
No, I don't at all. Because they're all positive. They're real positive things.
What do people usually ask you when they meet you?
Most is cast stuff. What was Maureen really like, or did Florence have an affair with Barry or something? Those kind of things. Where was the island? Who do I like, Marianne or Ginger?
What's your answer to that?
Well, Marianne, of course, Marianne, because I like Dawn. I don't know Tina. Also, I don't like tall women. I like cheerleader women, little cheerleader women.
Did you ever go to any of the conventions for any of those shows?
I went to, no. I went to a TV Land convention. And that was a little weird because when you say something, there are people that know your show much better than you do. And so I would say something and I go, no, that wasn't this. It was something, because they know it. So and it's like I got stuck that good. I was doing a speech on John Wilkes Booth because I'm an expert on that subject, in a Civil War group. And I mentioned that the Civil War ended, with Appomattox. Oh my God, did they scream at me? Apparently it lasted a little longer. I just know about John Wilkes Booth. I don't know. I said, please forgive me. I don't know. So there's a lot of fans that don't like that. So I don't get, I enjoy when people ask me about it. I don't like when I am pointed out, let's say, as much as I love my father, I don't like to just be his son. I don't like that particularly. That's the guy who's the son. You have your own egos about those things. I'm proud of that I am, but I think we're all more than just a product of somebody else.
What advice would you give to an aspiring producer?
Do stuff. It's really simple. Just do stuff. There's nothing stopping you from doing stuff. Because if you do it on the stage, it costs nothing. You do it with a videotape camera, it costs nothing now. They have all these new places you can go, the MySpace and the YouTubes and all those places you can put things on and do things, and people will look at them. And people that I have no sympathy for anybody who says, "Oh, I'm not doing anything, I'm waiting to be paid, or I haven't finished this." No, just do it. I'm writing all the time, and I have projects that are in some state, some status all the time, and calling people and just doing things. There's no reason not to do that. So if you're a producer, just do stuff. Get your friends, do stuff.
Because of your vantage point too, I'd like to ask you, what is your advice to an aspiring young actor?
Well, there's this for the same thing. You can get in plays. There's plays all over. If you're coming from a different part of the country, you can go out. There's these community playhouses all over. Do your craft outside the city. Then come here. You come here. There's fantastic classes. There's groups you can do, and then you can put your friends together and do a play in the backyard. You can do that. Just don't be one of the people. Well, nobody's calling me. The phone doesn't ring. You got to make the phone ring.
I want to ask you a little about your family too, because you now become a third generation television family. So
yes, my older son, Andy, I call him Andrew. The world calls him Andy. Okay, he's working on Scrubs, and I got him started a little bit through meeting the people on Frasier, because I knew they started those guys. So I started Peter Casey, and Andy started a job there and met some people, and then has really forged his own career after that. And I'm very proud of him. He's doing things a little bit more independently than I did. He's working on Scrubs right now.
He's a writer?
He's a writer on Scrubs, on staff. He did one episode last year, wrote one. He's going to write one this year. He's done his own movies. He has done stuff, like I was telling you. He's done stuff. He did 2 movies. He wrote one and produced it, and now little movies. And now he directed his last one. And he just got married to a actress, casting director, Lindsay Ravage, and they're doing really well. I'm very proud of him. My wife and I do the children's theater together, and she's a very talented actress, been in a lot of stuff that I've done. And my younger son is a musical comedy actor in high school, and he's already done a lot of things too himself already.
His name?
His name is Elliot. I think he's going to call himself Elliot Kevin Schwartz. He likes this 3-name thing. Yeah. But he's very good. He's very good. And he's starred in 2 or 3 of the children's theater plays I've done and some other musicals I've done, and he's won some awards. Both my wife and my son Elliot, they usually get better reviews than I get, having provided the material, which is fine.
And what's your father, Schwartz, up to these days?
We have just finished a book this week called Brady, 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 and we're polishing it up and going to get to publishers very soon. He is very active still. He's going to be 91. He gets honored a lot. He's getting a star on Hollywood Boulevard March 7th, 2008. We're very excited about that. And we have the Gilligan movie, and it looks like it may happen, so he'll be tied to that somehow. He doesn't go to too many of the meetings anymore. That's a little much for him, but his mind is great. he says to me, I'm feeling, I don't have much energy as I did. I said, Dad, you're great for a guy 91. You're not so good for 40.
What do you think is his legacy?
His legacy is certainly Gilligan and Brady. I mean, he is all tied up with what they are and what they say. And he gets a tremendous amount of mail supporting that. He is beloved in this country. And when I said I don't like being just identified as son, I'm thrilled to be his son. And I'm very proud of him. And the world, at least the television world, and maybe the world, America, is a little better because he was in it, or has been in it. That's, you want to make a difference in your life. He certainly has.
And how would you like to be remembered?
I don't know if I want to be remembered. I want the things that I've done to be remembered. I don't care if anybody remembers me. I'm thrilled with that one that I know is going to continue that thing for the city schools, and if the things the children's theater has had a wonderful impact on kids, and we get great comments and stuff, and it meant a lot and things. I think if you can make a difference, I teach my kids. I said just make a difference. Don't be here, and just be here.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you. Barbara, did you hear that?